Malzberg show. I wanted to bring that into focus again today because I want to hear from our good friend Jeff Kuhner of the Washington Times. Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, my friend.
Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, all the best to you and your family, Steve.
Now, if a tear didn't come to your eye in hearing Obama refer, and that, by the way, in his Christmas message that was posted on the internet, White House website, with him and Michelle, that was the only reference to the birth of Jesus. Never mentioned the name Jesus, just the birth of a child who dedicated his life to teaching and peace and whatever. You heard Reagan, just a little more Reagan. The next Reagan cut that we have there.
Just across the way from the White House stand the two great emblems of the holiday season. A menorah symbolizing the Jewish festival of Hanukkah and the national Christmas tree. A beautiful towering blue spruce from Pennsylvania. Like the national Christmas tree, our country is a living, growing thing planted in rich American soil. Only our devoted care can bring it to full flower. So let this holiday season be for us a time of rededication. Christmas means so much because of one special child. But Christmas also reminds us that all children are special, that they are gifts from God, gifts beyond price that mean more than any presents money can buy. In their love and laughter, in our hopes for their future, lies the true meaning of Christmas.
He said Jesus, he said God, he even said Jewish in Hanukkah. My gosh, how this country has fallen to this guy in the White House who, after he said the birth of a child, and as his only reference to Jesus, he then went on to talk about the military for the next 4 minutes, which is admirable, but not leaving out the significance of the holiday, especially to this devout Christian family, the Obamas.
Steve, it was an act of cynicism on the part of Obama that I found disgusting and repugnant. People in the White House have confirmed that over the last couple of months, sensing that he has lost middle America, he is trying to reinvent himself again as a sort of Christian socialist or Christian moralist. So here's a man who has been a radical secularist all of his life. Even the church that, by his own admission, he attended with Jeremiah Wright was a black liberation theology church. There was basically no Christ in that church. So here you have a man who has been a secularist, an atheist, someone who, when he went to the Middle East, openly said that America is a post-Christian nation, but a Muslim nation. When he talks about Islam, it is a revealed religion. When he talks about Islam, it's about the Prophet Muhammad, and praise be to Allah. But when it comes to Christmas, he cannot mention the name of Jesus. And if you notice, Steve, he does what many liberal Democrats have been trying to do over the last couple of months. Suddenly now they selectively quote from the Bible, and they try to portray Jesus as the first socialist. It's sort of like Jesus as Gandhi. So we celebrate the birth of a baby who championed peace and love.
Right.
The way Martin Luther King did, the way Fidel Castro did, the way Gandhi did. So to me, it's again the sort of the phoniness, the artificial packaging of Obama. Everything about this guy is cynical. Everything about this guy is now a desperate attempt to try to reconnect with middle America. And Steve, the nation doesn't buy it. He can sing Christmas carols all he wants. Everybody knows that in his heart, he doesn't care for Christ. He doesn't care for Christians. He doesn't care for Jews. He doesn't care for our religious heritage. Never has and never will.
Well said. Amen. Now, this birth certificate issue, Jeff, with Democratic Governor Neil Abercrombie. First of all, just the fact, and we played Chris Matthews yesterday, who said, why don't they just show the birth certificate? Why don't they just release it? Why doesn't Axelrod just get in there and say release it? Why doesn't the president say release it? So in other words, the media and by extension, Neil Abercrombie primarily is admitting the fallacy of the lie that people like O'Reilly and every left-wing member of the news media and Democrats and most Republicans have been telling us. We've seen the birth certificate. We've seen the birth certificate. Well, no, we haven't, if the issue now is that the governor of Hawaii says he's trying to find a way to release the birth certificate, so I guess we haven't seen it.
Steve, as usual, you hit the nail right on the head. To me, that story today was just, it made my eyes pop out of my skull, because here you have the governor of Hawaii admitting that the claims of the media for the last 2 years, whether they be establishment conservative media or the dominant leftist media, have been wrong and false and a lie about Obama's birth certificate. We haven't seen it, and this is the argument I've been making for the last couple of years. I just want to see the birth certificate. That's all. This whole controversy will go away in literally 30 seconds. But, Steve, I'm choosing my words now very carefully because I don't want to burn my sources. People around the White House, and especially in Democratic circles, in private, at a cocktail party, at a restaurant, will tell you where there's smoke, there's fire. They don't know what it is. Even some liberal members of the media that I've spoken to off the record have said to me, Jeff, we don't want to touch this story because we know there's something there. We don't know what. We don't know if it's going to reveal his religion that was given to him by his father or his stepfather. We don't know if it's about records that's going to eventually come out about his travel to Pakistan, or whether when he was a student at university that maybe he applied for foreign aid as a foreign student. We don't know exactly what it is, but the reluctance of this White House, and it's not just on the birth certificate, it's on its health records,
right?
It's on its university records,
right.
School records. They are hiding something. There is no question about it. And the only question is what? And the only question is how bad the damage will be. Steve, I underlined the word if. If it turns out that he was not born in the United States, we have a legal, constitutional, and political crisis without precedent in this nation.
Absolutely, but the left will say, big deal, who cares, what's the big deal, just like they did with Clinton lying under oath to a federal grand jury. But here's another thing, and the real question Chris Matthews should have been asking is not why doesn't the White House release it, why doesn't Obama release it? It should be, why has he spent over $1 million in courtroom after courtroom fighting the release of that birth certificate? It's not just that he hasn't released it. He's fought the effort to get him to release it in court.
And Steve, it's actually now the figure is now over 2 million. So it's just to show you how worried they are about this. They keep spending more and more money on this, and this is what Democratic aides have been confiding in me, political strategists and members of the liberal media. I'm talking senior top editors. Why is the White House so determined to keep the lid on this story and to prevent the documents from coming out?
Now explain this to me. We're talking to our buddy Jeff Kuhner of the Washington Times here on the Steve Malzberg Show. What's with this Abercrombie? See, I don't trust it. I mean, you want to be a conspiracy theorist? I'll be a conspiracy theorist. Obama's in Hawaii. Obama campaigned and supported Abercrombie. Abercrombie gets elected. And now all of a sudden, with Obama in Hawaii, Abercrombie says, I'm going to do everything I can to release his birth certificate. They'll put an end to it once and for all. And then he says that he's basically that he knows or knew both of Obama's parents, and he remembers the birth. He's the only witness on public record claiming to know Obama Sr. and Ann Dunham and Obama Jr. I don't get this. He was 20 years old at the time.
Yeah, I think he's lying. I don't believe it. I think this is political payback. He is now trying to cover Obama. This controversy is not going away. It is gaining traction. It is gaining momentum. It is gaining momentum in the courts. And so you have Chris Matthews, who's finally saying, look, guys, I've been taking heat on this issue now for the last couple of years. Just show me the bloody birth certificate and let's get it over with. And they can't. And, Steve, this is a very key point. What many members in the liberal media have been confiding to me is this. I asked them, I go, look, this is a bombshell of a story. It'll be like Watergate. It'll make your name. All you have to do is break this story. You're going to look at Pulitzer Prizes for the rest of your life. You'll be wealthy beyond imagination. You have all the fame and glory a journalist could ever want. They said, Jeff, you don't understand. If this story turns out to be true, we fear it could lead to a civil war within America. This is what they're telling me, that you're going to have African Americans so embittered, remaining loyal to the president, so many liberals so embittered, loyal to the president, but so many people in the rest of the country feeling now there is a serious constitutional breach, that everything that he has passed, because he is unconstitutional and doesn't have the right legal authority, everything that he has passed is thereby illegal and unconstitutional. It will literally be the worst constitutional crisis that ever gripped this country. So they don't want to touch this. So you have the media abdicating their responsibility to pursue the truth and hold their politicians accountable. So now you have Abercrombie, who's coming out saying, oh, I'll look into it. This is bogus. I was there, even though I was a young schmuck. I was there. I know the father. I know the mother. I held baby Barack in my hands.
I delivered him. I delivered him in the hospital. I changed the first diaper. It is so bizarre. One more, since we're doing bizarre stuff. Let's end on what's a kind of a lighter note, but not really. You know, we've had the murder of Christians in Iraq, in Nigeria over this past weekend, Christmas weekend. We've had nothing but silence from the White House. They don't care. They couldn't care less. The devout Christian doesn't comment on the death and the burning and the threats against Christians and the cutting off the arms of a priest. Nothing phases him. The death of a state trooper in Georgia, shot five times in the face yesterday, or the death of a fireman in Chicago. Nothing moves him to make a phone call, to make a statement. But Michael Vick has the game of games last Sunday against the Giants. And a year after the fact, Obama picks up the phone and calls the owner of the Philadelphia Eagles, Laurie, and congratulates him. And Laurie said it was with passion. He spoke with such passion about how we gave Michael Vick, an ex-con, another chance, and how more people should do this. That's what moves this president. That's what gets him emotional. I mean, it is frightening to think of what we have for another 2 years sitting in the White House.
Steve, we have troops dying in Afghanistan as you and I speak. We are a nation at war. You have Christians being slaughtered in a genocide across the Middle East. Israel is now facing a fight for its very existence. A nuclear Iran is on the horizon. And what is this man passionate about? What does he care about? What does he pick up the phone and really unleash his full energy and vigor? It's about Michael Vick being given a second chance in the NFL. This is how twisted, this is how disconnected he is from the concerns of everyday Americans.
Yep, and
at his core, Steve, he is a black nationalist Marxist.
Absolutely.
And everything he does that's authentically him confirms that. But I got to tell you this, the dear leader must not have been happy yesterday because our boy Vic, maybe he should get himself a dog, Steve, because he's not performing too well lately.
6 sacks yesterday. He needed a dog for protection, I think. You know, Tucker Carlson said that Vic should have been put to death for his role in killing those dogs. Listen, you and your lovely wife have the best New Year, the best of the rest of Christmas, and I look forward to speaking with you, sir, in 2011.
Same to you, Steve. God bless you, my friend.
Take care. Jeff Kuhner, ladies and gentlemen, our good buddy here on the Steve Malzberg Show.